In this video, we're going to find a power supply for your project. In the future, you will outgrow this power supply, but to get started, a little brick power supply is a really good way to go for beginners. Look for three things: more than 12 volts, more than 1.5 amps, and try and find a power supply that has 3 pins on the main side. The third pin is an earth pin, and they're a little bit safer for you. Cut the end off. On the inside, you've probably got something like this. Now, it's possible to make one wire from lots of little wire. So this is called multi-core wire. If there's more than 2 wire cores, this probably isn't the best power supply for you. Take care to wind the 2 cores together. You want to take care because if one of the little wires becomes loose and starts bridging against the other, this is going to create a short. This is why these brick power supplies are really good to use. Under many circumstances, if you do this with a power supply, something's going to break. You have no resistance, and so all the current that's available is going to try and flow through this connection. This is why these little brick power supplies are so good for beginners. On the inside of these brick power supplies, many of them have overload and short circuit protection. Now we need to figure out which wire is positive and which wire is negative. Let's use a multimeter to do that. A multimeter is an instrument that measures commonly used electrical properties. So let's use a multimeter to measure voltage of our power supply here. If you've got a multimeter new out of the box, you need to plug in the probes. The black probe is negative and plugs into the ground or common socket. The red probe is positive and plugs into the V or the ohms socket. I'm not going to describe how to use a manual range selection multimeter here. Let's just say that auto-ranging multimeters are the thing of the time and you don't want to be using anything else. Right, we've got our multimeter set up. Set the multimeter to measure voltage. Look for the little V on the dial. Take the 2 probes, the red and the black one, and touch one probe to each wire. If you look on your multimeter, you'll see a number. The number will be positive or negative. But if you pay attention to the number, you'll see the number on the multimeter should match the number that's on your power supply. This is the voltage of your power supply. If the numbers match or close to it, then your power supply is working. And if the numbers don't match, say it's measuring something in the millivolts range, something is wrong. Check your power supply is plugged in. Your multimeter should be measuring DC, not AC. On some multimeters, there's a different dial for DC or AC. Check the probe connections are secure and not loose. Perhaps one of your multimeter leads are faulty, or perhaps you have no power at the wall. But if you've checked all these things and there's still something wrong, there's something wrong with your power supply. Now we know our power supply is working, we should pay attention to the positive or negative on our multimeter. If the number is positive, our probes are touching the right wires. That is, the red probe is touching the positive wire and the black probe is touching the negative wire. If the number is negative, well, it's the wrong way round. Your black probe is touching the positive of your power supply and your red probe is touching the negative of your power supply. So there it is. Now your power supply is ready for use.